Poor-minded people plan for weekends. Wealthy-minded people actually plan for generations ahead. And hear me out. A lot of people think, right, having day-to-day lifestyle that you could be living where it just depends on the weekend that you're going to obviously have is enough. But the thing is, right, here's the point. Living a lifestyle where you're only planning for the weekend, you're only planning to be partying and drinking and having fun that's obviously not going to get you anywhere. Obviously, it's not going to be productive. This is what actually makes the end-to-end generation that we're living in successful these days. And it's so unfortunate. They think that being successful and having this sort of, lifestyle where I get to do whatever the fuck I want by the weekend is actually more than enough for me. But then the billionaires that we talk about nowadays and the millionaires that we talk about are people who plan for generations ahead. They plan for so much ahead to a point where they know that they'd rather be productive a lot more than having to do whatever the fuck they want on the weekend because, in some sort of ways they're financially stable, which isn't true. Nowadays, the individuals and the teenagers that we talk about, from a paycheck to a paycheck job, they convince themselves that on the weekend they deserve to have this free time. They deserve to have this sort of time where they spend time with friends and whatever. No, it doesn't work that way. You don't deserve to give yourself any of that time. If you're not a millionaire, if you don't have money every day in your bank account while you're sleeping, you're actually literally making money, right? There is no point. There is no reason for you to be having fun. There is no reason for you to be wasting time. And the point is I'm trying to make here, a lot of people sympathize for how hard they work. This is why they don't know how much limits they actually have. People only sympathize because they work so hard today and tomorrow I've got to take a break. Exactly with gymming, exactly with working out. Oh, it's been 6 days I've worked out. I don't want to work out today. But then I know I could work out for another 3 days. I know I could work out for another 15 days. The only limit you have is on yourself. You are in control of your own self. You are the person that has the authority to say, yes, I'm going to keep going. Yes, I'm going to keep going and I'm going to go a lot harder, or my draw and my line stops right here. A lot of people will set these limits to themselves and unfortunately become systemized to this system to sympathize for themselves where they have enough limits in their life where it's more than enough for them. A lot of people nowadays, where do you see them? For example, if something runs out of schedule or something runs out of whatever they've organized, it is something that paranoids them. It is something that actually makes them go crazy, right? But that's only because they set this sort of systematic thing inside of them where it's like, I have to do this thing, it's set at this time, and I'm an organized person. But it takes more than that. It takes you understanding that you can actually spend more time on whatever you're doing, on the career you're pursuing, and on something that you're working actually really hard on to actually change your life, to better your lifestyle. The limits that you set for yourself are limits that you can actually erase and set a lot further limits. And the millionaires that we're talking about now, the billionaires, they didn't set a limit for themselves where, hey, I work 5 days a week, and by the weekend, I'm just going to go spend it out with friends, party, drink, spend my paycheck, and we'll work out what happens next week. No. They actually sat down and said, look, there's no weekends, there's no this, there's no that, and these are my non-negotiables. When you're a man and you have your non-negotiables, you start to have a lot of respect to yourself, but a lot of productivity and a lot of influence comes to you. You start to be a disciplined man. You start to be a man that's not easily influenced by the environment and society. You start to understand being in raves and being in parties and being in clubs and being in whatever is something that peasants do, and you're not part of that. You're part of that 1%. You're exclusive. You're trying to make it. You're trying to be disciplined. You're trying to get out of that, and that takes a lot more. And sympathizing for yourself is not the way to start. Sympathizing and saying to yourself that, look, I today work 5 days a week. I deserve my free time. I deserve this. I deserve that. That is what makes you a loser. That is what makes you someone that isn't there and isn't someone that has actually discipline on themselves and an influence on themselves where they say, no, I can keep going. No, it's the weekend. Yes, it's been 3 weeks. I promised myself by the third week, I'm going to have a bit of free time, blah, blah, blah. But no, fuck the free time. I'm going to keep going because you know why? I'm only going to get closer to my goal. And if I stop here, the goal is always going to stay further. Day by day, and every day counts. And what do we see these days? The day comes, the day goes. The day comes, the day goes. And if you're the person that lets the day run you, you're never, ever going to be productive. You have to run the day. You have to tell the day, you know what? Today, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing that. And you could do a lot more even in your free time. Remember, when you're that person, you're the millionaire. When you're that person, you're the billionaire. That is what makes a strong-minded person and a person with a mindset and a person with an influence. Remember that. Take it.